These are strange beer stories. In 2021, this mom and son shared a unique experience.
So this is a very significant day because this is my parents' 50th anniversary.
When Diane Nesselhuff and her husband Ed married in 1971, they bought a little gift. This can of Coors Beer, which they promised to drink on their 50th wedding anniversary. For years, the can of Coors followed them on their life journey. It went to Wisconsin, Minneapolis, British Columbia, Maryland, and South Dakota. Sadly, Ed passed away in 2016.
Ideally, it was going to be mom and dad in a room full of people celebrating their 50th anniversary. Unfortunately, of course, that couldn't happen. So mom and I decided that we would honor the pledge that was made a long time ago.
So today, on the day of the 50th, we are going to drink this 50-year-old bottle of Coors Beer.
And if you never hear from us again, it's because we have botulism.
Yeah.
For the record, beer has a 4 to 6 month shelf life if stored at room temperature.
Oh boy, I hope it doesn't explode.
Right? It could. Now notice, there's no...
I'm going to get a towel.
Here we go, ready?
Okay.
It's a big deal.
I know.
Ooh.
It smells strong.
Wow.
And you go first.
Oh boy.
Here's to you, Ed. You got to drink it all.
It tastes sweet.
It's kind of good. Cheers. 50 years.
To 50 years. Great parents.
In 2020, an exhibit at the Disgusting Food Museum showcased an unusual alcoholic drink.
Well, we started by researching all the kinds of different alcohols that are considered disgusting around the world.
A 110 proof beer from Scotland that rests in a roadkill squirrel.
We grow accustomed to certain things when we grow up. We are indoctrinated into thinking certain things should be delicious, and everything that doesn't really fit that mold is deemed disgusting. And it's the same for alcohol, just like with food.
In 2023, a truck carrying 18 tons of beer spilled all over a highway in Santiago, Chile, after it was involved in an accident with another vehicle. This guy driving by spotted the bounty and ran away with 2 unopened packs, as did some others on the opposite side of the median. In 2023, a paddleboarder in Washington reported seeing what they thought were human remains in a cave. Detectives dove in to find a beer bong with the plastic skull on top. Police say it had been stuffed full of rocks and sunk to the bottom to prank people. In 2019, Dell Hall vowed to only drink beer for the duration of Lent.
They think I'm crazy.
The Ohio resident was confident he could do it.
I'm an Army veteran, so I was number 1 in my class in the Army. I've ran a full marathon before, 26.2 miles. I've done big challenges, but this seems very daunting. So I'm just curious if I'm up to the challenge, if I'm going to be able to do it or not. I am nervous. I'm very nervous about it. I've only fasted for 4 days.
Hall says he was inspired by monks who did a beer fast in the 1600s.
That would be their liquid bread, and that's what they call it. So the monks in Bavaria they would call Doppelbock liquid bread. And basically it would sustain them through 46 days of Lent.
Years ago, Benedictine nuns of the Meredith Abbey in Belgium fell on hard times and needed income to maintain their property. So in 2021, they teamed up with the brewer and created a beer that was, well, a financial blessing. Sister Gertrude says their beer was made from spelt. In 2019, Belgium blessed a barrel of beer. A procession worthy of a saint carried the cask through the streets of Brussels, culminating in a special mass at the cathedral, complete with music, holy water, the works. The service supposedly guaranteed good beer for the year ahead. Beer and religion have a long history together in Belgium. Belgian monks have been brewing beer for over 1,000 years. And this blessing is part of a tradition that dates back to the 11th century. The story goes that during an outbreak of the plague, a brewer monk named Saint Arnold urged people to drink beer instead of tainted water. The beer may have actually saved their lives. In 2023, German brewers created beer powder. Open a packet, dump it in a glass of water, give it a stir, and raise a glass to this new way to get your favorite hoppy beverage. These brewmasters said they're most excited about how much this product will cut down on the need for glass bottles, as well as making shipping the product more eco-friendly, reducing the weight of deliveries by 90%. If implemented worldwide, that could mean a big reduction in the industry's carbon footprint. In 2019, a new kind of beer was brewing. But instead of using hops, this South African company used hemp.
In beer, there's an ingredient called hops, which most people know about. And hops is actually part of the same plant group as cannabis.
Cannabis and hemp are related, but hemp doesn't have the psychoactive chemical agents found in marijuana. The owners of Poison City Brewing marketed their cannabis beer after a court decision to criminalize the use and cultivation of cannabis and cannabis-related products in a private space.
Easiest route into the market was to go with beer.
The new lager is named after Durban Poison, a popular strain of marijuana known for its distinctive smell and relatively short flowering period. Some people who have tried it said it's more about the taste than any kind of high. In February of 2024, when beer shot out of the fermenter, this guy clearly wasn't prepared. Thankfully, he was okay.
Free of charge.
In 2019, one Australian bar made quite the bet on the barometer with beer. They said if temps went over 45 degrees Celsius or 115 in Fahrenheit, they would hand out free beer.
It's a killer heat. Like, I've just sweated my entire body weight out. I've just been to Hungry Jack's and bought about 6 frozen drinks. Had work this morning, but it was just slow because of the heat.
In 2023, the Copenhagen Beer Week Festival featured beer yoga.
It's about doing yoga and drinking beer.
This woman told CBS News she needed an ale or two in order to loosen up.
Because the alcohol sometimes makes you feel more loose and more like going with the flow, thinking a little bit less.
Beer yoga teacher Ann Lund says people can get creative in order to get their drink on.
You know, if you're standing in a downward facing dog, you can't have a beer. But then you can put your leg down and maybe drink from the side.
There's no judgment at all.
In 2018, lots of interesting memorabilia was created to honor the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, including a beer on tap custom made for the bride and groom that was served not too far from Windsor Castle.
It's the Windsor Knot. It's brewed by Windsor and Eton Brewery. They've called it the Harry and Meghan Ale, so I believe it's nice.
The pub didn't just serve the beer, it also changed its name to the Prince Harry.
Well, it was always going to be the Prince Harry before he announced that he was getting married, so it was a race against time to get everything done in time for the wedding this week.
Harry and Meghan, don't let me down. That's actually really good.
In 2019, lifestyle expert Erica Katz shared how to keep beer cold and said there's a logical reason bottles of beers have long necks.
If you hold it over here, the warmth of your hands is going to warm the beer. But if you hold it by the neck, it keeps it nice and cold.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.